What's good, Commanders? The Commanders have signed kicker Ramiz Ahmed from the UFL team. He was on what's the team called? Birmingham Stallions. He also lost in a kicker battle to Chris Blewett, who was on the Washington football team. Chris Blewett was awful while he was here. He just couldn't even get the football over people's heads to make a field goal. Like his kick consistently got blocked. He blew it, pun intended. He blew his chance on making a team in the NFL. I remember we brought Blewett in after the Washington football, after Ron Rivera released Dustin Hopkins, and he brought in a kicker who was even worse than Dustin Hopkins. Like Ron Rivera, a lot of the moves he made with special teams were just really darn bad for the most part, as far as like kicking and like snapping the football. But that's neither here nor there right now. Now, you look at Ramiz Ahmed, he did play in the NFL. He had a very, very small stint in the NFL. He played in one game in the NFL. He played for the Green Bay Packers. He was on the Chicago Bears team as well for a small stint. Then, of course, just looking at Wikipedia, because I'm not going to act like I know who this guy is. Yeah, he was waived on August 30th, 2022. He was signed to the practice squad on September 5th, 2022. On November 12th, 2022, he was elevated to the active roster for the game against the Dallas Cowboys. He handled kickoffs as starter Mason Crosby dealt with a sore back, kicking off 6 times, 3 of which going for touchbacks, so that's pretty good. On November 14th, 2022, Ahmed was reverted to the Packers practice squad. On December 31st, 2022, Ahmed was elevated to the active roster from the practice squad during warmups for the team's Week 17 game against the Minnesota Vikings. Ahmed suffered a groin injury and did not play during the game despite being elevated to once again handle kickoff duty. So that's unfortunate. He got injured right before the game. That's unfortunate. After the game on January 2nd, 2023, Ahmed returned to the team's practice squad while the team signed fellow kicker Matt Amendola. On January 16th, 2023, Ahmed's contract with the team expired. He was not brought back. He was also on the Pittsburgh Maulers, on the Bears, where he lost to Eddie Pinheiro for the kicker battle in 2020. 5'11". You look at some of his numbers in college. Extra points. His last year in college in 2018, went to Nevada University, same college as Cole Turner. He went 40 for 44 in extra points, which is okay, 90%, which is it's not bad. 40 for 44 is not bad. Oh, extra points, so he missed 4 extra points. To me, it's average. It's about average. 15 for 20, 75% on field goals. Now, this past year, he went, what's the numbers for him? He went 10 for 13 on field goals in the UFL. He went 6 for 6 inside 40 yards, and then past 40 yards, he went 4 for 7. He hit a game-winning field goal, a 46-yard game-winning field goal in the rain against the DC Defenders as well. So he's done a couple good things. He's had some good moments in the UFL. A lot of people are saying, why didn't we sign Bates, the guy who made the 64-yard field goal? That's because Bates is not available. Guys who are still in the playoffs, they're not available to be signed until the offseason, which is June 16th, which is the last day of the season. So Chris Blewett, he kicked 8 for 9 for the season, while Ramiz had some struggles this season. This was tweeted by Avion Plummer, who's a UFL guy, a UFL reporter, as he was 10 for 13 netting, a 76.9 field goal percentage. There's some other numbers I had for Ramiz Ahmed. He famously hit a 61-yarder in the USFL, the longest field goal in league history. His time with the Maulers secured him a spot with the Packers in 2022. So he's had some really good moments. He also had the second lowest field goal percentage in the UFL this year with 76.9%. So that's not good. There's some good moments he's had in his career. There's been some bad moments, for sure. He also had the first kickoff over 70 yards in Week 6. He also had a kickoff that traveled something like 88 yards, which was the longest kickoff in UFL history as well. That was on April 27th. So I mean, like I said, I mean, he's had a couple good games. He went 4 for 4 and nailed a 46-yard game winner to complete the Stallions' comeback against the DC Defenders. So unfortunately, that was against the DC Defenders, and he hit a 46-yard game winner. So I mean, like I said, I'm not going to go too much in depth or in detail about a kicker, but like I said, kickers deserve a lot of respect, man. I told about how Dustin Hopkins or Joey Slye missed that extra point against the Giants, and it forced us to have to go for 2 against the Giants, where the guy bear hugged Curtis Samuel, and we would not have been in that position if Joey Slye would have just made the extra point. Now, Joey Slye, he stepped up big time in that Eagles game where we lost to the Eagles in overtime, where he made some big kicks in that Eagles game at Philly. we ended up going to overtime against the Eagles. We ended up losing, but at least we were able to have the chance to have an extra quarter because Joey Slye made his kick. So you guys get my point. Like, extra points are so important. Field goals are so important. I remember Dustin Hopkins, we were playing the Chiefs. It was the game where basically he got let go. It was like the last straw, the final straw for Dustin Hopkins. He missed a 43-yard kick against the Chiefs, and we probably would have lost the game anyway, but it was a momentum shifter. After he missed that kick, Pat Mahomes, they drove down the field and scored. And we ended up losing 31-13. We were actually beating the Chiefs, if I'm not mistaken. I think we were up like 13-10. And then we just lost 31-13. And it just took the air out of the building. Like, it took the air out of the balloon. You know, so you guys get my point there. So we'll see what happens with Ramiz. Is he just a camp body or just a competition guy? Do they wait until after June 6th to sign Bates? Bates made a 64-yard field goal, which is pretty insane. But I know Bates just missed a kick the other day. And that's the UFL guy. I know Destroying. He probably will never get a job in the NFL. He's a famous YouTuber kicker, or kicked in college as well. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what this guy Ahmed does. 5'11", young guy, 28 years old. So we'll see, man. We'll see what happens as long as the long snapper can get on the same page. But you know, we are in the kicker wilderness right now. So we are in the kicker wilderness. I'm not going to hit the panic button, but you know, this is not a good place to be in June. Looking for a kicker, scrambling for a kicker, you know, it's not a good place to be, you know. So I do, like I said, I'm not faulting Adam Peters for kind of like not seeing this trial coming up. Like, I feel like they should have knew this trial was coming. You know, if they felt like the trial and all these details were going to come and they were going to release them, then I feel like they never should have picked him up. That's just my take on it. But like I said, I'm not going to fault Adam Peters for this, but I feel like, you know, the whole snakes on a plane story and all this stuff coming out, I feel like the league or the insiders, the GMs, the front office, the agents, they should have known, you know, or the agent and Brandon McManus. They should have came up front. I know they're not gonna. It's really Adam Peters and the front office, their job to do the due diligence. But you know, it's kind of like, you know, did they not know that these ladies were gonna come out with allegations? I feel like the Jaguars knew this too. The incident when it happened, like when it got reported on the plane, I know this was probably a pretty uncomfortable thing, and I know the ladies on the plane were probably very, very upset and came to the team and everybody and reported this, the groping or whatever Brandon McManus did. But like I said, we're in the kicker wilderness right now, and there's not a lot of guys really available that you're gonna be banging on the table for. So I mean, they're in a tough situation, man. They really are. But a lot of kickers get released, like Joey Slye, the way we were able to get him because he got released in the middle of the season. But we can't wait that long for the middle of the season. But there's going to be a lot of kicker competitions going on, guys getting released in preseason. So, you know, we'll see what happens there, man. I know OTAs is coming up. I'm just going to give you guys the schedule because I know OTAs is tomorrow. And Dan Quinn's going to talk about the situation and everything. So I know I'm going to be making a video tomorrow. I know all the Commanders content creators are going to be making videos for sure for tomorrow. June 4th. So OTAs, yeah, June 4th and June 5th. I think tomorrow is the day where the media is allowed to be there and report on it. And then June 7th, they have OTAs as well. And then June 11th through 13th is the mandatory minicamp where I know the media is going to be there for sure. And it's a little bit more intense during mandatory minicamp. So, all right, you guys let me know what you guys think about the situation. Do you like the signing of Ramiz Ahmed? Do you really care or not? Do you think we're going to pick up somebody else? Is he more of just like a camp leg right now? Right now, it's hard to say he's a camp leg because he's like the only guy that we got in the building right now. I think they got another guy, if I'm not mistaken. But, you know, that's really it, man. I mean, he could fool around and be the day one starter. But we'll see what they do if they do bring in the guy Bates. June 16th. So, all right, you guys let me know what you guys think. Health Commanders. Peace.